hello. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? Good evening. Boom. What do you guys think? You ready? You ready? I think so. How are you? Oh, this right here. Boom. There we go. All right. Fix the boutonniere. Make sure she's nice and flat. There we go. Yes. Little hair zhuzh. We're good. Welcome, welcome. Welcome. All right, everyone. Hope you had a good day, everyone. Welcome in. Hi, Shivy. How's it going? Hi, Mego. Hi, Helen. Hi, MB. How's it going? Donuts, Taylor's version. I like that. Nice Taylor Swift reference. I like that. Layla. How's it going? K-Bug. Jay Shellerman. How are you? How are you guys? Good morning, Shivy. Good, good. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. I mean, I've heard of him, but I don't know who he is, like, politically. So I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I don't have an opinion. I've heard of him, but I don't have an opinion. Does that make sense? Science rules. Hey, Corey, what's up, man? All right. Okay. All right. Thanks for dropping by. All right. All right. Got some interesting news, guys. Everything. Hi. Thank you. How's everyone doing today? Thank you. Assalamu alaikum to you. I work for a hospital in tobacco control. Interesting. Yeah, happy Friday. Do you know if you work in healthcare if we can get the COVID booster? I would think so. Man, I'd hope so. Matters how it's stated is though, probably, huh? If they recommend it the insurance wise. That's what I would think. Yeah. Okay, everyone. Well, let's see. Check out some Vax facts. Oregon. I need a prescription. COVID booster for COVID, my friend. Yeah, SARS-CoV-2 is still there. Hi, Sin. How's it going? Opinion on peptides. I mean, they are a form. I mean, in terms of like as a chemical molecule, or in terms of a ancillary thing that you can inject into yourself. I would be wary of any black market or gray market sites, dude. Let's see. Yo, welcome in. Ooh, this is a good one. I found a new Vax Facts. This is a good one. Do. Good evening. 1 second, guys. Wow, that's a cool Vax fact. Hi, Kathleen. How's it going? All right, guys. This is a good Vax fact. Why pandemic every 100 years? That's a good question. I mean, I think basically as humans spread throughout the world and we have, easier travel. Oh my God, this guy every time, dude. Not today, dude. All right, we're just gonna just mute you, and then you want to come back again, you can do that. Pandemics happen as a global thing, right? So epidemics, I know some guy came in and just yelled something. Hi, Brandy, how's it going? Daisy Ellis, yes. So pandemics are easier to spread when you actually have global travel. So you have humans globally traveling now. So, yeah, it's okay. It doesn't need to be said. Pay no mind, guys. Pay no mind. You're all good. You're in good hands, okay? Pay no mind. Daisy Ellis. All right, guys. Thank you for getting vaccinated. I need to... Let's see here. Let's see. One second. Okay. Let's try this. Okay. Neon. Oh, I like that. All right, guys. You know what time it is. We got Daisy Ellis getting the flu shot today. So that means that we open up the Vax Facts and the Vax Board. 3, 2, 1. Whoa. Tdap during pregnancy protects newborns. 78% fewer pertussis cases in infants less than 2 months. Isn't that cool? And 90% protection against pertussis hospitalizations. Isn't that amazing, guys? And subscribers, you guys got some new stickers on check it out. So for our you got new toys for the vaccine parties that we do. 1 second, sorry, bud. This is getting COVID boosted 4 for us. Oh my gosh, Coco and Gary Ellis. Okay, so that's oh my gosh, Gary Ellis and Coco. All right. Oh my gosh, guys, let's see it. Yes, Gary Ellis and Coco's entire family. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And that means that this goes up for 5. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Yes. Coco, thank you for getting vaccinated. Family that vaccinates together grows old together. So thank you so much for taking it. And Gary Ellis, thank you. We got some new Mava merch for stickers. Should be fun. Nice, user. Nice. All right, guys. Boom. Cool. Good job, guys. That was cool. That's really cool. We're up to 125 already. That's wild. That is so cool. All right. Yes. Yeah, you do not want long COVID. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. All right, guys. Awesome. Hi, Dr. T. How's it going? Welcome in. Welcome, welcome. The COVID booster always puts me down for several days. Anything to lessen it? No, my friend. Guess what, though? Imagine if you had an actual SARS-CoV-2 infection. You'd be down for a lot more than that. Your body is reacting that rapidly and that strongly to the spike protein made by the RNA. You have a lot more made inside with the actual infection. So that's good. That's good. What's happening to TikTok tomorrow? Do you know? So there's like a terms of service use thing that people are saying about. Honestly, guys, I don't know. I'm not really paying any mind to it. I'm going to keep doing what we're doing. And that's just what it is. Backup streaming websites would be Twitch and YouTube. I have that's where I'm getting that's where I would go. So I would yeah, that's where I would go. Not okay. Yeah, you're right. Dang, you got me. Yeah, YouTube would probably be the backup thing. And Twitch simul stream. I'm actually streaming on YouTube right now, guys. So if you want to check out and subscribe to my YouTube, you could do that. You know more than me, Light Spiritual Warrior. I'm sure you do. You know more than me. I'm glad that you're here to let us know. Let me know if there's any other mistakes that I make, and make sure to stay involved with the fact checking. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for being here. I don't think linen heals the body, bud. I don't think that's not how it works. So yeah, that's not how it works. So yeah, guys, I'm not gonna moderate my content. You know, the idea that I'm not gonna do that. I have to, engage with people that are spouting disinformation. And that's something that I have to do because I think that not enough scientists are doing it. And that's what's unique about this thing and what we're watching and what you're seeing happen. And I've never gotten a block or strike or anything on YouTube. So I think for me, at my content at least, I push back enough or I'm putting enough context in it. I don't get striked on YouTube. So I think YouTube would be the place to go. Where do you get the flowers you wear each night? So this one is from Fort Belvedere, but normally my wife made them. They're like little boutonnieres that she made. Latricia, basically the TikTok community terms of service are changing tomorrow, and people think that they could be having a huge crackdown on anyone who had posted political content before or disinformation content, whatever it deems as disinformation. So, obviously I don't shy away from that. The whole point of this channel is exploring those two topics. And oh, thank you. Okay, girl. Thank you. Hello. And so I'm going to be engaging with that, and I'm engaging with those topics, and I don't think that that's a problem. Yeah, heard. Nobody's doing that. Okay. Thank you, Spiritual Warrior. Thanks for the feedback. I love this. This is a really good personal assistant. Good, Kami. Really good. Hey, Jess, how's it going? Oh, thank you, Brooklyn. You're nice. You're very nice. So yeah, guys. So we're just gonna keep foraging forward. Just gonna keep doing the thing. Gonna keep it up, and that's it. It's just kind of how it is. Thank you. Joe, you come on like every night, bro. So I don't think that I'm gonna say this time. Okay, just You always yell and scream, Joe. So, hey, what's up, Tommy? How's it going?
Hey Doc, how are you, bud?
Good, man.
Hey, thank you for letting me come on. I just want to come on and say hi. I had seen the comment about Charlie Kirk, man. I appreciate y'all saying that, man, because I feel the same way. May he rest in peace. It was very sad what happened. Just wanted to see what your thoughts was on that, but sorry, I've got a cold here, man.
Yeah, man. I
Took a
mean,
flu
the,
shot.
I mean, there's in general, I think that he's one guy that's in the subject of an awful political, fight and the victim of violence that I don't agree with and I don't support and I don't protect that type
It's
of
very sad.
violence at all.
I'm
I
about
think
your
that
age,
the
man.
big difference though is like the people that are supporting what happened are kind of like fringe minorities on the left, while I have a huge
Sad, isn't it?
problem with the mainstream Republican politician response where they are castigating the entire left as the problem and that they are going to be going to war with the entire Democratic Party.
Man,
Meanwhile, the Democratic
too
politicians are
bad.
all saying that they're sorry that it happened and they're all saying that this is an awful thing. Like the mainstream Republican politicians' main response is it's civil war time. It's just not okay. They need to,
I
yeah,
agree.
including Trump. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, the
You know,
incitement
it's
to
sad because
violence is
all of
insane.
Washington is doing that. You know what? No matter if you're Republican or Democrat, they're all up there dividing each other. I've never seen our country in my lifetime this doggone divided. It's
You sound
very
very
sad to
far
the
away from
point.
the mic. Can you get a little bit closer to the mic?
Uh, is that any better? This might be my voice. God love you. I had to take a flu shot, man, and I'm
Oh,
feeling well after
you got a flu
it.
shot?
Yeah, yesterday my arm hurts
Dude,
like
guess
hell
what?
after
Dude, you
that.
got a
Oh,
vaccine party for you.
yeah.
Dude, nice, dude. That's what we do here.
Thanks,
Yeah,
bud.
one of our big things is public health. So thank you for getting a flu shot. Nice, dude. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. 126. Good job, guys.
Sweet.
Dude, thank you for doing your part
Thanks,
for
Doc.
public
I
health, man.
appreciate that.
Yeah, dude. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You know, I seen this country, man. I grew up in the 70s, man. I was born in 79, and I'll tell you, in my lifetime, I've never seen it this divided. And to see the point where they would start shooting each other on each side, and they would willing to kill you over a comment, I've never seen nothing like that in my life. I mean, the only thing I could even say would even come close to would be like Venezuela or something in another country, not in this country. We're Americans.
I
In
know.
America, man, we stand tall. You know what I mean?
I
Doc, I had never seen nothing like this.
Dude, so the problem that I have with that statement, dude, is that I talk to people on the Republican side constantly, and I talk to them about the 1.2 million people that died, and during the COVID pandemic,
Oh
and they
yeah,
talk about conspiracies that they didn't actually die, and it's one of those like one person dies is a tragedy, a million people die, and it's a
yeah. I
statistic,
lost
and
family.
that's just and it's disgusting. So, like as a patriot, like I obviously I protect um, Charlie Kirk's First Amendment right to say his reprehensible things,
Absolutely.
but I also, as a patriot, care about those 1.2 million people that died, and I don't think that you can be a
Absolutely.
patriot and not care about those 1.2 million people that died. So
Yeah,
that's the
I
problem that I
agree.
have.
I absolutely agree. And I don't see all the things. I can see on both sides, some good and bad, but there has to be compromise with both sides. And I never have saw anything like that COVID. Man, I tell you, I lost my wife, I lost my brother-in-law, and a father-in-law, all within 6 months of each other. And I can tell you, COVID was a nasty thing. It really was nasty. I don't know what you saw as a doctor, but I can tell you from what I've seen family-wise. Oh, and I lost my mother.
Hmm.
And I'm sitting there thinking, how could anybody think that wasn't real? You know what I mean?
I know the the conspiracy is already coming. It's insane.
Oh yeah, you probably hear it a lot, don't you, Doc?
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah,
really frustrating,
sad
man. I mean,
time.
everything, yeah, I mean, I'm a microbiologist, so I'm steeped into the COVID thing and really talking about, trying to understand why people would not have sympathy for the 1.2 million people that died or the school shootings that happen constantly. That's what I don't
Yeah,
understand. Like
that's bad.
the amount of death that happens constantly. I don't understand the
Absolutely, Doc.
focus. Like it just happened, so I can understand that. But like, the flags flying at half mast, the NFL saying, giving a moment of silence, that kind of stuff. Like, did they ever do that for a single school shooting? Did they ever,
Yeah,
like
I
where
never
was that?
recall
Why
seeing
didn't we
that
talk
either.
about that? That's what I don't understand. It just seems so fake, to me.
I
Um,
agree. You seem like you're about my age, Doc. And
I'm
I can tell you,
38.
when I was in high school, oh yeah, I'm 46. I'm a little older. That sucks, man. So as I was in school, in high school in the 90s, man, I was graduating by 97, you know what I mean? Went on to be a law enforcement officer and an investigator, and I've done a lot. And I've never seen anything like this because when I was in school, we could have our shotguns in the back of our car, hanging in
Hmm.
the window, and nobody messed with them. The
Sure.
cars would be unlocked, and that's what was allowed back then. As I was graduating, that's when I started noticing that they were doing away with the guns in school property. I'm like, yeah, I kind of see that. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I could agree with that. And then over my lifetime, I'm sitting here thinking these school shootings, man, is messed up. I have children. I would never want to ever have to face anything like that. As losing a child. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I can't imagine why anyone wouldn't have sympathy for these people. These are families that are losing their kids. I mean, something has to be done. I don't think violating everyone's constitutional rights would be the option, but something
I mean,
has to happen.
but the
I mean, we've got
constitutional
to
right doesn't
stop
mean
it.
anything, bro. I mean, how many times, how times has Trump violated how many constitutional rights? How many amendments
Oh
has
yeah.
already came through?
Well, both
And then
sides do that. I agree.
no, no, not even close, dude. Not
Yeah.
even close. Like,
Oh
and by
yeah,
the
they
way,
do.
I mean, Trump needs to like, he's going to sow basically the Republicans have to pass some like comprehensive background, uh, or gun control measure, because at some point, there is going to be a point where people just say enough, and the Trump has
Mhm.
basically pushed the executive branch so far in the extreme, in the authoritarian extreme, that the Supreme Court, by the way, has agreed that he has that right to. And in the
I think we're living in
and
fascist
there's
and
basically a
Marxist stuff.
decision
I
that
agree.
talking about the right for the judicial system or of a district court judge to stop the executive branch. And the Supreme Court ruled that the district court judge doesn't have the ability in order to stop the executive. And in Sotomayor's defense, she's saying she doesn't agree with the opinion, so
Gotcha.
she's writing a dissent, and she writes
Something.
in there that basically, so the Trump administration is arguing that he has the constitutional powers to walk over, whatever it was, like the 14th Amendment right. So technically,
Mhm.
that means that the executive now has the right to take the guns and as a national security measure, and not recognize the Second Amendment, and no judge could stop him. That is the country that we have now, that that the
What a
Supreme
messed
Court
up
agrees with,
situation. I
that the
agree.
executive could go around and take all the guns from everyone in the country, and there would be no judicial recourse. So
But that
like,
would be fascist, you know what I mean? And
but
Marxism. I mean, you're taking
how would that,
you know
if
what
it's
I
a
mean?
national security threat? I mean, then what I mean, that's the question, man.
Well,
How
here's the
many?
thing that I see, Doc, and this is this. As an enforcement man, I'm telling you, Doc, mental
Uh,
health is 90.9% of that problem. I've seen it, man. I've witnessed it. And then you have the drugs, the drug addicts. They don't really care because they've lost everything. You know what I mean? They don't have anything. And hell, half of them are living on the streets, Doc. So, I mean, you have to put a lot of that into perspective, too. And our country's not perfect by far. But, man, this is the only country that that has basic freedoms, man. I don't see it in many other countries. You know what I mean? If you lose this country's freedom, then we have nothing left. I mean, just fascists and Marxists. Marxists. I just don't. I don't know where we can put a fine line down the middle and say, look, but something does have to happen. I absolutely agree with you there.
okay.
Like,
I agree, man.
just no
Your
life.
mic is just really hard to listen to, man.
Sorry,
You'll
Doc.
It's okay. But
Not very good reception in my
it's
phone.
okay. You can come back again. It's just Come back tomorrow if you could get like a headset or something on. I'm
Oh,
curious to
sure.
continue
No
the
worries, Carl.
conversation though. Could you?
I would absolutely enjoy that. Absolutely, Doc. I'll
Okay,
fire
awesome,
it
man.
up.
Thank you.
God
Tomorrow,
bless you, man.
9 o'clock, same time. Okay.
Sounds
All right.
great. I'll see you then. Thanks,
Later,
man.
man.
See
Guys, you say a slur in chat, you're going to be banned. You know, like permanently. So, like, you know, it's insane. Don't, you know, I don't understand. Just because a politician says it, you can't say it in here. Okay. Insanity. I don't care who you are. You're going to get banned. Okay. Um. Okay. Chance. No. Okay. It's okay, Ducre. Protect the dolls.
Hey,
Yeah.
brother, how you doing?
What's up, Chance? How's it going, man?
Going good, man. Hey, so I wanted to kind of jump into a topic that's definitely your expertise. I don't know if you've talked about it before, but I wanted to talk about a subject that I've been reading about, how viruses are actually essential for life on Earth, and that if we were to abolish all of them, we probably would see a global ecological collapse maybe within days or
Oh yeah.
weeks.
Oh yeah. They're not like
Um,
mosquitoes.
yeah,
Mosquitoes famously there's no real ecological service that they provide, but viruses provide an essential ecological service, and they basically can take parts of genomes from one organism and push them into another one so that you can actually create some type of mutation rate. They increase the amount of mutation rates just by introducing more DNA material that way. And then the second way is you basically create an evolutionary arms race where you can actually they develop things in order to be pushed in certain aspects. So it's a biological control
exactly.
agent. Yeah.
Yeah, like I was reading about how like what is it? It's like 50% of all oxygen on Earth is because of our plankton, and how like viruses monitor or how they like control that.
Hmm.
How we're
Yeah.
actually using good.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. Over 50% of the world's oxygen comes from not from land plants, but from algae in the oceans, and it's the um, yeah. And basically, there's a secession event when you have cold, deep water that comes up from that's being upswelled by hurricanes or um, basically the ocean during heat, like hotter events, gets stratified. So you have like a hot layer at the top, and then the cold, nutrient dense water gets at the bottom. And during hurricane seasons or stuff like that, all that cold, nutrient dense water gets pushed to the shores, and then there's an upswell, and basically all those nutrients go through a secession event. So it's like algae, cyanoplankton,
Mhm.
diatoms, all that kind of stuff. And those blooms are regulated by the community of microorganisms there. So yeah, absolutely. Like the bacteria, the viruses, the algae, the microbial community. There's definitely a huge part of that, and the viruses have a key role.
Did you see any studies in your time, or like did you do any research where you noticed like let's say El Ninos, or like what is it, La Nina, I
Mhm.
think is what it is. Did you ever see anything like that affecting I guess virus propagation or anything like that?
That's a good question. No, I haven't studied marine biology that much. I use algae as kind of like a host tool in order to do the things that I want, you know, and make things that I
Okay.
want. But I don't use it as I don't do marine biology. You could think
Fair.
about hey, let's check it out. Um I would think that it would. I would think that the population genetics would change based off of La Nina and El Nino events because of the same thing. It's a completely different current, so that's going to have
Right.
different La Nina
Like
versus
I've wondered
El.
how it would affect the virus cultures, because I know like the heat is probably going to allow bacteria to grow a bit more until it reaches a certain point. Whereas I know that the cold would, slow down their reproduction a bit.
Yeah, that's interesting. You say that. The first thing on Google Scholar is El Nino pandemic influenza connection. Coincidence or casual?
Oh.
This is a research article. It has a good citation count, 57. We find that 4 most recent human influenza pandemics, 1918, 1957, 1968, and 2009, all of which were the first identified in boreal spring or summer, were preceded by La Nina conditions in the equatorial Pacific. Changes in the phase of the El Nino southern oscillations have been shown to alter the migration, stopover time, fitness, and interspecies mixing of migratory birds, and consequently likely affect their mixing with domestic animals. It's the birds being a reservoir. We hypothesize that the La Nina conditions bring divergent influenza subtypes together in some parts of the world in favor of the reassortment of influenza through simultaneous multiple infection of individual hosts. That's when there's multiple viruses that infected the same host, and they can do a genome recombination. So normally a virus has mutations that accrue maybe 1 or 2 at a time with single nucleotide changes. It's called SNPs, single nucleotide polymorphisms. But if multiple are infecting the same organism, they can just recombine their entire genomes, which is a crazy way, a crazy fast way. And also how these pandemics are so dangerous, right? Because you have those viral genome recombinations happening globally. And that is exactly why vaccines become less and less effective as you have more and more viral genomes out there. That's very important.
Does a situation... Sorry.
One second, just the last sentence. We propose approaches to test this hypothesis using influenza population genetics, virus prevalence in various host species, and avian migration patterns. Oh, that's cool.
Interesting. Okay. Well, you mentioned there with the viruses infecting the same host and then kind of recombining in that way. Do we see like genetic traits occurring in like other organisms because of that? Because I believe I read that the way that let me see, the formation of placentas in humans could actually originate from an ancient retrovirus. I wonder if a situation like that where they recombine created like a genetic trait like that. I mean, we don't know probably because of how far back
mammalian evolution. The evolution of the placenta. The placenta, guys, unironically, one of my favorite things. It's unbelievable. Uterine mammals. Placenta is absolutely such a cool mark, a change in the just the evolution of mammals. So the definition, if you're not aware, the placenta is an organ that develops in the uterus. Okay, so inside the uterus during pregnancy and provides the oxygen, nutrients, and protection to the growing fetus. So it's basically kind of the step between mom and baby and provides all that stuff. And if you've seen it, it is absolutely wild, man. These blood vessels are gigantic. They're so cool. Let's see here. So there's a disagreement on whether the last common ancestor of the uterine mammals had an endothelial placenta or a hemorrhagial one. I don't know what the differences of those are. Probably maybe it's inside or outside the placenta. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know if anyone in chat can say. I don't know.
Oh, is that like the protective sheathing almost or something?
Well, there's like it's probably inside or outside. Let's see what it means. Let's see. Endotheliocorial is a type of placentation where the fetal chorionic villi are in direct contact with the endothelial of the maternal blood vessels. Oh, it's whether or not. So it's the placement of the placenta.
Oh.
Because I know it could be like inside or outside. Oh, here we go. Placentation. Okay. Wow. This is the formation, structure, and the modes of arrangements of the placenta. The function of the placentation is to transfer nutrients, respiratory gases, and other water from maternal tissue to the growing embryo. and in some instances to remove waste. Placentation is best known in live-bearing mammals, Theria, but also occurs in some fish, reptiles, amphibians, a diversity of invertebrates, and flowering plants. What? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like I think salmon are kind of similar in that way.
The placenta
Based
can
on
be
my
derived
very
as an organ formed by the sustained apposition or fusion of the fetal membranes and the parental tissue of the physiological exchange. This definition is modified, blah, 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 blah. Okay, here we go. We got it. This is definitely one you guys want to look at. The YouTube is really good right now, guys. You got all the pictures and stuff, and we're that's a good place to have. Second monitor the YouTube stream. The endotheliocorial placentation. There's a second T in there that I'm missing. In this type of placentation, the chorioic villi are in contact with the endothelial of the maternal blood vessels. So this is in most carnivores like cats and dogs. Oh, okay. So it's like actually. Oh, it is. It's slightly outside. The sac, and then the epithelial chorioic. So it's the endy or the epi. So the epi is the growing into the apparatus of the uterine glands. So this is like ruminants, horses, whales, lower primates, and duong. Whoa. And then the hemochorial placentation is when the maternal blood comes in direct contact with the fetal chorion. Whoa. Which it does not in the other two types. Whoa, the maternal blood comes in direct contact? It may avail for some efficient transfer of nutrients, but is also more challenging for the systems of the gestational immune tolerance to avoid rejection of the fetus. That's interesting. Yeah, because there's the R type, right? The R naught or the RH factor.
So they're saying that like
mammals,
cats
guys.
have that?
I don't study mammals, guys. This is all new to me.
No,
so
you're good. So like cats have that to where the blood is directly affecting the placenta? They're a part of that group? Because I'm just curious, because I have family members that are vets, and like I know that some animals are more susceptible to like these viruses or to specific illnesses because of that.
Cats do the endotheliocorial placentation. So, and then the humans. But it says that that we do the hemochorial placentation. That's interesting. During pregnancy, interesting, dude. I'm so confused. That's really interesting. You're plantologist. I know. Put up the disclaimer, guys. I don't study mammals. Put it up. I work with algae. Resolution of this will require improve at the same time we transfer, foster. I'm thinking about how this paper is thinking about this. So how does it matter? Only then we can ensure the information available about the placenta is adequate to capitalize on future advances in molecular phylogenetics. Examples are recent findings. Interesting. Evolution of the placenta.
Yeah, I always like bringing you weird stuff.
This is definitely weird. I think the placenta is really very interesting. So this is actually kind of cool.
Oh yeah, man! It does everything. It's like a filter. It's a feeder.
I mean, it's basically the last. I mean, I don't know this, but I've heard people say this. So I'm not an expert. I don't study mammals, but I have heard that the placenta is basically the thing that we need to figure out in order to grow humans in vitro, like outside of the womb. So, like, and it's like we don't understand it yet. Oh, here we go. Okay, wow, there's actually a cartoon indicating how placentas can be classified according to the numbers and kinds of cell layers that separate the bloodstreams. Okay, epithelial. Wow, there's a completely separate lining. Okay, so the maternal has the endothelium, the connective tissue, the epithelium, the trophoblast, the mesoderm, and then the endothelium. And then the hemochorial is just right there. Wow, it's like you have the fetal endothelium, mesoderm, and the trophoblast, but then the blood is just right there. So there is no separate endothelium and connective tissue. Wow, that's really interesting. So the baby's like is basically just bathing in has that blood there. That's crazy, guys.
Yummy.
No, it's not eliminating the need for the mother. It's even more so. The hemochorial seems to be you're even more in tuned with the health of the mother, and that's kind of the problem. I'm surprised you don't do more screen sharing, Brittany. I try the screen sharing on TikTok, and it shuts me down. It shuts down the entire TikTok thing. It says I can't do it, and it shuts me down for copyright every time within like a second. So I've tried, and it frustrates me. I don't understand it myself. Yeah, I know it really frustrates me.
You know, I wonder with the ethics that people would be worried about, the whole eliminating the womb kind of thing. I think it could come in handy scientifically for situations like, death with dignity. Like, let's say there's someone who's brain dead or something, but they're pregnant. Like, I'm not going to go too far into it, but let's say a certain circumstance that happened a couple months ago. We could have, an artificial womb and allow that brain dead person to pass, which is their right, and then just artificially grow their child outside the womb. I imagine if the technology is good. Sorry, I'm just trying to go into the ethics.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, nice, Cherry. Nice. Good. Yeah. And the YouTube actually has the Twitch, the TikTok chat on it too, guys. So if you're wanted to watch it.
I should probably do that, honestly. I've got my Fi-Fi mic right next to me that's way better, and I'm actually in front of my PC with dual monitors, so I could do that. Probably would sound a lot better than this mic.
No, it's all good, dude. Okay. Cool. Dude, that's really cool. That is very interesting. But yeah, the El Nino hypothesis was pretty good, dude. That was it seems pretty on point. It's going to change the, good night, FTBG. Hi, YouTube. Hey, Addie, how's it going? Yeah, so, I mean, you definitely change the migratory patterns of birds. So you're definitely going to see different, a whole different diversity of organisms. And therefore you're going to change the, change the virus population. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, yeah. And, I think I was watching other TikTok lives today, and it just got me thinking at work on my lunch because people were arguing about vaccines, no vaccines. One's like, oh, but if we allow our immune systems to, just blah, 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 just pseudo bullshit, talking about not doing vaccines.
Yeah.
And then you've got another person saying, well, we should eliminate all bacteria and viruses. And it's like, well, let me take a look. Yeah, and
that's
I'm
nonsense.
like,
That's impossible. You're 50% microbe. That you would have to eliminate 50% of what makes you a human. That doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. I'm like, dude, like bacteria, like we get nutrients, I bet, too, just from bacteria dying in us. And then also...
Yeah, it helps us break down food. It has a chance to interface with our brains. So it's that. I mean, that's just nonsense. But yeah, Tdap. I mean, the vax facts of the day, dude, is Tdap vaccines during pregnancy protects the newborns. 78% fewer pertussis cases in infants lower than 2 months, and 90% protection against pertussis hospitalizations. So even during pregnancy, you should get vaccinated. So it's so that's just nonsense. Well, Chance, thanks for coming in, dude. I appreciate it. Thanks for that's a really good question. That was fun.
Absolutely, man. You have a good one, and love the live.
I appreciate you, man. All right, have a good one.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to put this in. Nice. Spirit Fire Pottery. That means that you are a big winner. That means that, boom, we love it. That means we are at 127. Here we go, everyone. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Spirit Fire Pottery, thanks for taking your health seriously, your public health seriously. Thanks for getting vaccinated for yourself and the people around you. We appreciate you around here. Thank you, everyone. All right. All right, so we got Morris, and then we got STLA. Hi, Noamis. How's it going? Morris. Nice. Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome, Spirit Fire. Yeah, see what you can get. Also, MMR. If you're older than 30, sounds like you are with the shingles. See if you can get an MMR booster. If you don't have the vaccine card, you don't have any. I've seen research to say that it falls off after 10 years. So, I would really recommend getting it if you can. Okay, STLA, you're up. Okay, nice. Nice, you got the full titer test? That's good. That's very good. Oh my gosh. Whoa. All right, guys. All right. Well, thanks, Uguay. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, both of those timed out, so that means we're at 50 minutes. Let's do. Yeah, no, it's not me. They're both cutting out for whatever reason. They weren't able to join. So, yeah, it's all good. It happens. All right. Well, I want to do. Is there an RC? Yeah. Yes. 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 Yes, I think so. All right. Well, guys, how about we do a science paper? Why don't we talk about science? How about that? All right. Let's do some science. Yes. Yes, science. Science. This is the peer review. All the cool things that are happening in science that nobody talks about except for here, right now. Here we go, guys. All right. Hope for diabetes. CRISPR edited cells pump out insulin in a person and evade immune detection. Edits create cells that don't trigger an immune response, allowing implant recipient to forego immune suppressing drugs. In a medical first, researchers report that they have implanted CRISPR-edited pancreas cells into a person with type 1 diabetes. The cells pump out sugar-regulating insulin for months without the need for the recipient to take immune-dampening drugs, thanks to gene edits that allow the cells collected from a deceased donor to evade detection by the recipient's immune system. Wow, that'd be really hard to get a match. That'd be really hard. And why would they not? Why would it only be months? I guess they get kind of over time they can't. So when you implant something into a genome of a cell, basically that machinery that makes that special thing metabolically, it costs energy, right, in order to make those things. So a lot of times they'll get outgrown. Like in a culture, the thing that's making a CRISPR is like 120 kilodaltons, and Cas9's like 4,900 bases. So it's pretty big. It's a pretty big protein. So you have a pretty big protein, an expensive protein that you have to make. So I think that it would have to be just over time. You'd lose it. You'd lose it out of growth. The regular liver cells would just take over. The study, orchestrated by the firm Sana Biotechnology in Seattle, raises hopes for an enduring cure for autoimmune disease that consigns millions of people to a life of strict monitoring and dependence on injected insulin. The preliminary data has definitely lifted the spirits of our community, and that's a really elegant approach, says Aaron Kowalski, chief executive of Breakthrough T1D, a nonprofit organization in New York City, formerly known as JDRF. The ultimate goal is to apply immune cloaking gene edits to stem cells and then direct their development into insulin secreting islet cells. Wow, that's cool. Unedited islet cells made from the stem cells have already shown promise for treating type 1 diabetes in a small trial. But some independent research groups have failed to confirm that the Sana method confers immune skirting abilities on edited cells. And the study involved only one person who received a low dose of cells for a short time. That is not N equals 1 is not a good sign, guys. But, I mean, you can keep going. Not enough to, quote, achieve insulin independence, so clinical efficiency remains unproven, says Tim Kiefer, a molecular endocrinologist at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver. Still, Kiefer calls the demonstration of immune cloaking convincing and a major milestone towards the goal of effective cell therapy without chronic immunosuppression. Kiefer previously told the role of Chief Scientific Officer at biotechnology Cyvite, which, like Sana, focused on developing cell therapies for type 1 diabetes. The stem cell solutions. Currently, the only way for someone with type 1 diabetes to avoid dependence on injected insulin is through a transplantation of cadaveric islet cells. The procedure can restore insulin production for years, but it is rarely performed, constrained by the scarcity of donor pancreases, like we were talking about, and the need for lifelong immune suppressing drug therapy, because you don't want your body to start attacking those new cells, right? Because they're not from you, which carries a risk of infection, cancer, and other serious side effects. To address the donor shortage, some companies have turned to stem cell technologies to generate limitless supplies of replacement isolates in the laboratory. So if you can make your own from stem cells, I think that would be it. The Vertex is the furthest along. As reported in June, the company transplanted embryonic stem cell-derived isolates into 12 people with type 1 diabetes. After 1 year, 10 participants no longer required insulin injections. Wow! The company plans to seek regulatory approval for this cell therapy next year. Whoa, that's really cool. In a similar vein, scientists at regenerative medicine Reprogenics in China are creating isolates from reprogrammed stem cells derived from a recipient's own fat tissue, with early reports of success. With the fat tissue, is that because you could just inject the fat and then it would be staying there? Both approaches, however, still require a recipient to take anti-rejection drugs, either to fend off immune attacks of donor cells or to counter the autoimmune assault that persists even after a person's own cells. Wow. Interesting. That is incredible. Immunosuppressants. Exactly. That is not something that I would want to be taking with going with which. Oh, Jomo. Hey, Wow, I'm so happy that you're in chat. That's so cool. Wow. Interesting. Yeah, well, I think that's a good plan for right now. All right. Well, that was the peer review. All the cool things that are happening in science that nobody talks about except for here, right now. Thank you guys. Yes. Science rules. Science. All right. That was it. Thank you so much. I mean, there were some scientist positions that were in the government and stuff with the FBI that I did apply for. I mean, in general, like, you know, they're so far removed sometimes that it kind of is okay. But yeah, it is what it is. My daughter is a type 1 and has to be taking immunosuppressants already for autoimmune disorders. Dang. I wouldn't like work for ICE or anything though. My research has been used for the Department of Defense already. You know, they fund a lot of interesting research, you know. So the Department of Defense like has really high risk, high reward projects and that's the kind of science that I kind of like anyway. So as a researcher, I really like that stuff. Why can't you just grow a functioning human pancreas? That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, organs, I don't think we're able to grow in vitro yet. We're able to like graft and create 3D printed like bladders and stuff and vessels, but I don't think that we're able to make organs just yet. You could maybe do it in a pig and then have the pig transplanted into humans, but I don't know if you could make your own. I would love to, Mr. Unemployed. I'd love to, but fortunately, there's not that many research and development jobs. But hi, Cindy. Oh no, how's it going?
Oh, hi. I didn't realize I hit the button. Can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. You have anything on your mind? Hi, Dee.
I thought I would tell this story of the 2 times I needed to have my tetanus shot updated.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because people might not think of the things that happened to me that needed a tetanus booster, and it's kind of funny, this story.
Okay,
sure. I'll try to be quick with this. I was in a place where I needed to rescue a bunch of kittens. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
There were kittens in my neighborhood where the mother kitten had been unalived by a mean person. And there were a bunch of kids that told me about it, and I wanted to model for them better behavior. So I said to myself, I need to get these kittens, take care, get them vaccinated, get them placed in homes to show the kids that you need to be good to animals, not bad. And so I caught these kittens, and they were in my house in a big, huge wire crate. And these crazy feral kittens were able one night to open the crate and get out. And I was renting. I wasn't allowed to have 4 kittens in the house. So I had to catch these feral kittens no matter what.
Oh my gosh.
So I had to grab them, and no matter if they were biting or scratching or whatever. And I got all the kittens. And by the end of this, it was like 3:00 in the morning. I was bitten and scratched and everything. And figured that I maybe should go to the emergency room. I actually called the nursing line, and they said, go to an emergency room now. And It was funny when I told them this story at 3 o'clock in the morning that I was attacked by feral kittens. They were busting out laughing,
Yeah.
but they weren't laughing when they said, "You need a tetanus shot."
Interesting. Because I would have thought
And
rabies, but I guess like because they don't have any like rabies symptoms, then you don't need it.
I don't know. I don't really, I don't remember. I was trying to remember whether I got rabies too. Like, I didn't know if that was a thing, but I definitely got my tetanus shot updated. And the second time I had to get the tetanus updated, and it only happened a couple years ago, I was cooking with bacon, cooking bacon,
Mm-hmm.
and I had poured the grease in a container, and I hit the side of the container, and all the grease went down my arm, and I got a second-degree burns.
Oh,
It was
geez.
horrible, horrible. Went to the doctor that time, and I was really surprised that he said, "You need to update your tetanus
Wow.
from a second-degree burn." It's just something people should keep in mind, that was something I had to do.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Dude, thank you for you always check that, and rabies is one that you don't want to mess around with. You know, rabies is
No, not at
100%
all.
death rate. So if you get even an inkling that you could have rabies, so it's really important.
Yep. But I just thought I'd share that story. And
Awesome.
I love your stream. I love listening to you. And I
Thank
think you're
you.
making a big difference with that little ticker up on the top.
Oh, thank
I
you.
know when I got you already counted mine, but when I went and got my flu shot, I thought in my head, oh, I have to make sure I tell Dr. Greg.
Oh my gosh, that makes me so happy. That's so cool. Thank you
Yeah.
for saying that.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you already added it. So
Okay.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your stories. Your anecdotes are awesome. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Bye.
You too.
I got sepsis from a cat bite. Oh my gosh, Jen. Wow. Yeah, that stuff can spiral, guys. It can spiral for sure. Gnarly, guys. Gnarly. If psoriasis is an autoimmune problem, why don't they treat the cause instead of the symptoms? I don't know, dude. That's a good question. I don't know. Huh. My mom was attacked by a cat when we were growing up, and she instantly had to get a shot. Yeah, I probably want to eat. Yeah, I don't know. I would think that. I would think it would be. I don't understand. I was trying to look in what the tetanus. So it's caused by the Clostridium tetani, and I guess you can have it in the soil. So maybe that's why the soil can be on their claws. They scratch you, and it can be embedded into the wound. Oh, it's no, in saliva. Tetany, C. tetany, which is the Clostridium tetani, is found in soil, saliva, dust, and manure. The bacteria generally enter through the break in the skin, such as a cut or punctured wound by a contaminated object. Interesting. They produce toxins that interfere with normal muscle contractions. Diagnosis is based on the presenting signals. Cool. Tetanus can be prevented by immunization with the tetani vaccine. And those who have a significant wound and have had fewer than 3 doses of the vaccine, both vaccinations and tetanus immunoglobulin are recommended. The wound should be cleaned and the dead tissue can be removed. Very cool. Very cool, guys. Oh, it's Gaynor back. Hey, Gaynor, how's it going? It's always nice to have a fan. Let's see. Tetanus, lots of different types of tetanus, the pathophysiology. Oh, so the tetanoneurotoxin binds to the presynaptic membrane of the neuromuscular junction, is internalized, and a transport back through the axon until it reaches the central nervous system. Yo! It selectively binds and is transported into inhibitory neurons via endocytosis. It then leaves the vesicle for the neuron cytosol, where it cleaves the vesicle-associated membrane protein, VAMP, synabrevdin, which is necessary for the membrane fusion of small synaptic vesicles. The small synaptic vesicles carry the neurotransmitter to the membrane for release, so inhibition of this process blocks the neurotransmitter release. So the tetanus toxin specifically blocks the release of the neurotransmitters GABA and glycine for the inhibitory neurons. That's why you have that spastic paralysis. That's interesting. So that they don't want to mess with that. That's why they just give it out haphazardly, pretty much every time. Unlike many infectious diseases, recovery from the naturally acquired tetanus does not usually result in immunity. This is due to the extreme potency of the tenospasm toxin. The tenospasm will likely be lethal before it will provoke an immune response. Wow. So tetanus can be prevented by vaccinations. The CDC recommends that adults receive a booster vaccine every 10 years. In standard practice, in many places, is to give the booster to any person with a puncture wound who is uncertain of where they were last vaccinated, or if they had fewer than 3 lifetime doses of the vaccine. So the booster may not prevent a potentially fatal case of the tetanus from the current wound, as it can take up to 2 weeks from the tetanus antibodies to form. Interesting. Yeah, it's the pictures of people with tetanus. It doesn't look good. You wouldn't want to look at that. Basically, the tetanus binds to and inhibits the central nervous system, so that's why it is not good. Yeah, they want to make sure. Have you read that California is planning to restore federal cuts to science by paying for them ourselves? I mean, that would be awesome. I mean, if we could do that, that'd be incredible. That'd be so expensive, though. I don't know if we could. That is crazy. Okay, let's check it out. Check it out. New York Times. Let's look at it. New York Times. Yay. Restore federal. I mean, I can see them doing it for the UC system. Okay, California's $23 billion plan to restore federal cuts to scientific research. Democrats are calling for the creation of a state equivalent of the National Institute of Health, but first state lawmakers and then voters would need to approve it. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It'd have to be so much money. That's a huge amount of money. Are cancer rates exploding in the U.S.? Yeah, because detection are showing. Yeah, look at that Mava. Look at that Mava. That's freaking sick, dude. That's sick. Yeah, Addy, I put a bunch of stickers in there for you guys. Mava and the list. The list. No, it's definitely not true, Gaynor. Nice try, though. Definitely not true. Democratic lawmakers, I mean, it's also the increase of cancers has increased with how many times Trump has become president. So, I mean, that is correlated. We have more cancer detection now, and we do have Trump for president a second time. So they are directly correlated. Maybe Trump's causing all the cancer. You can't disprove that. New York and New Jersey are allowing to the newest shots for anyone who wants one. Yeah. Nice. Good, Jen. Good. Oh, okay. Maybe the cause is Trump then. Thanks, Gaynor. Thank you for providing that. I agree. Maybe Trump is causing cancer. For sure. Thanks, Gaynor. Thank you for that. Supporters of the proposal said it would effectively create a state version of the National Institute of Health and the National Science Foundation, two of the nation's largest institutional funders of public and science research. The move follows California, Washington, and Oregon's announcement that they would form a health alliance and review scientific data and make vaccine recommendations for their residents in an attempt to bypass vaccine skeptics in the Trump administration. That's too nice of a word, vaccine skeptics. They're against vaccines. They're not skeptical of vaccines. They're against vaccines. The plan to back scientific research calls for lawmakers to pass and for voters to approve a 2026 ballot measure, a proposed $23 billion of funds and financings that will allow the state to make grants and loans to universities. Dude, that is insane. That is so much money, though. That is crazy. I mean, I support it, obviously, but yikes, dude. We can barely get like a $2 billion water bond through. And this is $23 billion. It would be the largest state effort of its kind and considerably more aggressive than one floated in the Massachusetts in July, which is $400 million. I mean, $23 billion, and to put that in perspective, is like the entire National Institute of Health budget. That's like around $20 billion. I think NSF entirely is like 10 or 15. I mean, these are not large amounts of money. It's pretty crazy. In California, the federal cuts have been deep and are expected to worsen. At one site alone, UCLA, the Trump administration has already sought to freeze roughly $500 million in federal research grants. The legislation behind there's no guarantee, it'll pass. In 2020, this is what I was talking about. The 2020 voters rejected a $15 billion bond to support higher education. And then and last year, a $6.4 billion thing backed by Newsom to fund treatment and housing of homeless people barely passed. So, I mean, I would be down, but dang. I should put the Fed taxes in an escrow account and withhold any money for loss of service. Oh, it'd be interesting. As an Oregonian, I support it too, but I'm scared due to my state mismanagement of funds. Yeah, I think transparency is going to be huge. For sure, the increase is driven by windmill cancer. Definitely not, Dan McDowell. That's definitely not true. Yeah. Hi, Julie. This federal freezing of these universities is absolutely absurd. Brexit's constitutionally approved. I mean, so the legislation was passed, Congress approved it, and Congress has power of the purse. So, I mean, the Constitution is very clear on this. This idea that the OMB somehow has superseded the power of the entire legislative branch is just absolutely unconstitutional. What would it be, Andy Kami? Hi, Julie. The cancer confirmed by MAGA, the real cancer of our country. Californians have passed similar ballot measures before. In 2004, the state's voters approved a ballot measure to support research on human embryonic stem cells after George W. Bush administration restricted the use. At the same time, $3 million bond measure was the largest state-run scientific research in the country. In 2022, the state's voters authorized another $5 billion bond to finance the research, along with potential treatments for Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and dementia. Nice. I like it. You got to do something, guys. We have to do something. You know what I mean? Got to do something. The NIH funding is particularly essential to the UC system, which is one of the largest employers in the state and includes 6 academic health centers. The system received more than $2.6 billion in a year from NIH, making it the biggest recipient in the country. Yeah. Oh, okay, Dan McDonald's. Okay. Phew, I don't know sometimes, bro. We let everyone in here, so um maladaptive, that's a good question. I don't know. It is pretty bad. It is pretty sad. Oh, cool, Addie. Nice. Recap of what? Of the basically California is trying to pass their own version of the NSF and NIH funds. So the funds that normally come from the government, the NIH, the National Institutes of Health, and National Science Foundation have been sequestered by the Trump administration, and they're blocking all of that money going to the sciences. So they're doing it through the Office OMB, Office of Monetary Budget, or something like that. I forget what it's called. But they're basically using that because that's where the paycheck kind of comes from. That's where the routing is coming from, and basically they've used that opportunity to stop it. And California is trying to propose a mechanism that California could pay for its own money that to pay for these things. So that's the idea. You're right, Julie. We do. California does pay more in taxes than they take from the feds. You're totally right. Wait, Addie, what? What? What did I miss? Oh, Alzheimer's. The Alzheimer's research. Management and budget. Thank you. Thank you, Spirit. It's pretty good, huh? Dude, it's crazy. They bought it. So, okay. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm happy that you did. That's really cool. Hi, Susie. How's it going?
It's going well. Listen, I'm not coming here to talk about science.
Okay.
Me and Rochelle, by Maud, we came to say hello. Wish you luck with your live this evening.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And we just want to send you a pleasant hello where there's no drama and no ugliness and fighting. Just we want to give you positivity, correct? Correct. So,
Awesome.
we're enjoying a fire. We're just
Oh, wow. Look at you guys. Dang, you guys are chilling. What's up?
yeah, we're just trying to get away from all of that.
Yeah. Good idea. Totally.
But we do watch your lives.
Thank you.
I mean, I do. And she nods. She's really quiet. She's not like loud and obnoxious like me.
All good.
So we will watch silently in the background, but wish you luck. I heard a couple times things went kind of rocky.
No, we're having a good. No, last week has been awesome. Even like 2 days ago, I thought it was going to be crazy, but it was super chill. The last couple of days have been very chill. Yeah.
A cognitive neuropsychologist. What does that mean? It is somebody asked. Can I answer quickly?
Sure.
Or try to?
Go for it. Yeah.
So it is essentially how neurophysiological structures of the brain contribute to cognitive development, cognitive usage, and psychological behaviors and mood disorders, psychiatric disorders. And basically a lot of that stuff begins during utero and continues through infancy, childhood, and is how's the best way to explain that? Michelle, in the clinical.
You look for ways to put interventions in place.
Yes. So by the time these things are done, there's like permanent neurophysiological structural changes. So in instances when there's trauma, parts of the brain, such as like the amygdala, grows thicker. So emotional regulation, mood regulations are more prominent, especially in young boys. So there's a higher chance and probability of like oppositional defiance disorders. Just a lot of different things that can happen in the brain that come from the structural changes. And so how does that affect cognition? How does that affect decision making, input, processing, interpretation, and then how you use that information to deduce the environment and everything around you. So a lot of it that I have used, it's been in behavior modification and intervention type stuff with at-risk youth. And of all ages, like I'm talking about children up to early adulthood years. So a lot of it is chemical, a lot of it is structural, and trying to teach new skills to individuals to adapt and become healthier, I guess, more learned coping skills to refrain from those type of things. Everybody thinks like, oh, hey, you endured the abuse, it's permanent. It's not. It takes work. So like that's where cognitive behavioral therapy comes into place.
Cool.
Things like that, things of that nature. But so that's what that is. So
Nice.
it was really quickly that somebody pointed that out. So
Nice.
But that was it. I saw you were live, wanted to come in and say like, good luck, hope everything goes well with the live. Totally unrelated, but just sending positivity towards you.
Cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for your positivity. I appreciate that.
I'm sorry. I know it's weird. I'm not,
No,
positive.
well, there's nothing weird about it at all. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, of course.
Cool. Well, have a good fire. I hope you.
We're not going to conjure any kind of weird spirits or nothing. we're just going to enjoy. Oh, never mind. She says I should speak for myself. I don't plan to.
Nice. Exactly.
I'm going to keep it serious, but yeah, good luck, and we'll be watching here and there. So yeah,
Cool.
mental health is a passion, and very much believe in like generational trauma and how that can be passed through, which is why I've watched a lot of your stuff talking about like the microbiology, genetics. Obviously that can go into it. So it's interesting to me for different reasons.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Susie. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I hope you have a good live.
Thank you. Will do. Have a good one. See ya. All right. Friend of the stream, Susie, everyone. Awesome. Hi Marissa, how's it going? Brexa, yeah, some of them get spicy. It has to, but hey, sometimes it has to happen. But I always love when people come on and just want to talk, and I think those are cool calls too. It doesn't have to be always combative. That's not even the point of the stream or the channel. Isn't to be like super combative. It's really to try to give people a chance to talk through their questions and their skepticism be recognized, and to give them the opportunity to talk things through. I don't like. I don't even like the ones that are super combative. I actually like the ones that are longer and where we get to know each other and they get to ask questions, and those are my favorite calls. And I'll stay on those ones if they're in good faith, and those are the 2-hour calls that I don't even have that problem staying on that for that long with that person if it's in good faith, So oh no, Marissa, I'm so sorry. Again, I work for Pfizer Soros, Moderna, all of them kind of that, it's just every week it changes, you know. Nice, Deanne. Yeah. Yeah, that's so tough. Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, MB, you're wrong actually. But I don't work for big pharma. I've worked for mega pharma. There's actually even a bigger, pharma conglomerate than big pharma. So just mega pharma. It's just the big that's who owns Pfizer. That's the big question. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Oh, no, nice. Nice, Addy. Nice. Yeah. MAGA Pharma. Oh my God. Why didn't we think of that? That's so good. That's so MAGA Pharma. MAGA Mega Pharma. MAGA Mega Pharma. Yeah, no, that's who I work for. Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Susie. Appreciate you. Thank you. Mega MAGA Farmer. That's a good one. Yeah, I think so, man. I think the thing that I'm tired the most about is like I feel like we're just not seriously trying to address any problems anymore. Politics was like 25 years ago, it was like boring, but at least like people were trying to at least somewhat do different things that would try to address the problems. And you didn't think that, hi Kimchi, you didn't think that those people were actually like, they weren't successful, right? But yes, they do, Gaynor. Yeah, everyone vaccinates. Trump vaccinates everything. I think it's just sad that we haven't. We're just spiraling in toxicity right now in our politics, and it's just isn't in a. People aren't being productive. I've been away of the news this week doing some training. Anything new in science? There's some cool type 1 diabetics news, research news. There's some cool. We're using CRISPR horses now, which is actually kind of cool. Yeah. There's some, the science breakthroughs. I know, isn't that cool? It's banned in competition, but they are using horses, genetically modified horses now. It's kind of cool. Well, heck, people are killing each other over less. Yeah, I mean, what's a CRISPR horse? CRISPR is a gene editing tool, so genetically modified horses. The CRISPR horses? Yeah, it was a gene edit in their myelin for their horses, for their muscle development, so they could run faster. Yeah, there was basically CRISPR edited pancreatic cells that were excreted insulin over time, so that they didn't have to have injected insulin in it. So, yeah, it was a cool breakthrough that CRISPR could be used to create these stem cells that could create insulin secretions, and the insulin secretions could actually help some people get away from insulin injections. Oh, cool, Marissa. Yeah. Yeah, Trump definitely was vaccinated. He actually used way more experimental things than vaccines. He used man, I'm spacing right now. Why people don't stand up for their beliefs is what I was referring to. I don't know what you mean. I mean, people are. Okay. Oh, interesting. I don't understand which. We'll have to look at that sickle cell. I don't know what you mean. You see did you see they found possible signs of biological process of life on Mars? I've seen that a couple times. I haven't. I'm like very skeptical. We'll have to see. I mean, that's very true, Amby. That's very true. And Rudy Giuliani does drag too. It is true. Oh, I love it. Monoclonal antibody. That's it, Maladaph. You're right. Thank you for that. My brain slipped on that. Hi, Sickle Cell Lessons. How's it going?
It's going well. You can just call me 5 Minute or Marissa.
Marissa, that works. How's it going?
So lessons is like a whole lot.
I'm Greg. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you. I was just popping in because you talked about CRISPR.
Okay. Yeah.
CRISPR, for people who don't know, CRISPR is the technology that allows you to go into somebody's DNA, I guess, rungs, and basically identify what is wrong, pull that little piece out, and replace it with something far, far less interesting. Let's put it that way. And they put it back. All is supposedly right with the world. Well, sickle cell was the first molecular illness that used CRISPR to come up with a cure. Now, it sounds all cool and dandy and really, really great, but the fact of the matter is that it's not a cure. It's not a cure in any way, because what ends up happening, well, actually, no, I have a question. Dr. G, what do you think would make something a cure? Like what?
Yeah, I'm trying to look at what they did. I don't know. I mean, it would be impossible to really do that for an adult. But basically, the idea would probably be to switch the genetic defect at birth. I mean, sorry, at like when the human is still at like a clump of cells stage, so that you can actually repair that, because you otherwise you'd have to change the gene of every single cell in a human, and it's so many cells and it's so big there just wouldn't be any way to do it. So that's what I would think that would have to happen. I'm trying to see.
So with sickle cell, because our cells live that good 10 to 20 days, you can imagine that would be even harder, right? So with CRISPR, they basically what they're doing is they're pushing sickle cell patients with the disease, and they're bumping them down to what they call trait status, sickle cell trait status. That is not a cure. Oh, and then P.S. and by the way, you're still at risk for a crisis. That's what we call our pain crises. So you're still at risk for VOC. You're still dealing with all of the transitional and chronic pain that brought about by the acute crises you've had throughout your life, right? Your lungs and your lungs are still compromised. You're still susceptible to infections, especially respiratory ones. And your blood is still sickling. It's just sickling, a smaller number of your red blood cells. And the worst part about it is that the patient can revert back to having the disease, and they don't even know how that's happening. But it's not a cure. It's a $3 million, very, very, very expensive treatment. If somebody told me sickle cell's getting a cure, I would think the following. One, I don't have to deal with this anymore. No crises, no AVN, no, no nothing. I would also think I'm not passing this down my bloodline. I'm not going to pass the trait over to my children, right? Like, those are the things that I think about when you say cure. And none of that's happening. We can still give this to our kids. We still have to use best practices, because sickle cell trait, people think that sickle cell trait is unharmful. That's not true. Sickle cell trait, I would argue, truthfully, can be just as bad, if not worse, than the disease. Because when you consider that it takes two parents with the trait to give rise to one child with the disease, right? Okay. Then all three of those people, mom, dad, kid, mom and dad have the trait, kid has the disease. All three of those people are suffering from this 22,000-year-old mutation. And if you don't know what sickling is, very, very, very quickly, sickling is the hemolytic mechanism that is the foundation for sickle cell. So hemolysis, that's when you break down your own red blood cells, right? So with sickle cell, we make healthy blood cells. They go out into the body. Everybody gets oxygen. You get oxygen. You get oxygen. Hey, everybody got oxygen. Yeah, yes. And then what happens is once the oxygen molecules become outnumbered, it sounds so childish, become outnumbered within the cell, it rips the cell open. And once it does that, it spills everything that was in the cell into the red blood, into the bloodstream, including heme. Heme is the iron molecule that binds the oxygen molecule within the red blood cell. Well, heme is poisonous. Nobody outside of us can tolerate heme just all throughout your body and your organs. It's poisonous. It should not be free flowing through the body. Not only is it poisonous, it's incredibly viscous, sticky, kind of like rubber cement, if you remember that. And that heme immediately smothers the iron molecules and pushes them against the vessel wall. And now anything coming down that vessel, the heme is grabbing, kind of like a spider web, and pushing it against the wall. And basically, it begins to break down the vessel wall to the point that the nerves in the vessel wall can no longer communicate with the rest of the system. So it can't say, divert, I have a problem, and hey, down there, dilate as big as possible, because I'm going to try to shake this thing loose. All communication is cut off. And that's how our blockages that turn into a crisis, that's how they're formed. I sickle 20% of my red blood cells, sickle 24/7. Somebody with trait, 5%, they say 3 to 5% of their red blood cells are sickling 24/7. So you're still dealing with the basic mechanism of the illness. How is that a cure?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the 2024 study right now, and it's fetal. They're looking at fetal hemoglobin HbF reactivation expression through the CRISPR. I I don't think like gene therapy could ever really cure anyone that's an adult with sickle cell disease. I don't think that would be possible, but genome editing strategies would be possible at like the fetus and smaller like stages for humans, I think.
Agreed. If they can figure it out, absolutely.
Yeah,
but
yes.
No. Not you're already here fully baked. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah, because there's too many cells. Basically, as a human, an adult, you've already differentiated so much, and your cells there's too many of them, and you'd have to somehow edit all of them at the same time. So it's just not really possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but in the future, maybe like in the future, for future babies or something like that, that could be a possibility.
Mm-hmm. But truly where we are now, CRISPR used sickle cell to prove that CRISPR can work. They created their little $3 million treatment that no one can access. And this is coming from somebody who had $3 million in medical bills before. 2 million outpatient. No, 2 million outpatient. Yeah, 1 million in. That was like 5 years ago. That's a lot of money. And it's wild to me that you would choose this illness to prove your little CRISPR, but you then did not create what you said you were going to create. Instead, you created a treatment. But the illnesses that they've been working on after that, they have found great advancements in. So we're just the guinea pigs.
I mean, the CRISPR was used for a lot of other things, not just sickle cell. I mean, if there's
that's what it said.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So anyway, that was it. I gotta go.
Okay.
But I like a little red today.
Thank you, Marissa. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Thanks for your perspective. It's always I always like it when you come on. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah. Really cool, guys. I mean, so it's very tough. Gene therapy approaches when basically there's a lot of cells for an adult. When the human's already differentiated and there's so many that you would have to do. That's why gene therapy approaches are really good when you need to target a small specific amount of cells, right? So that would be cancers, for example. You're not trying to target all the cells. You're trying to target just the ones that have that specific gene mutation. Boom. Now we're talking. Hi, Leopardus. Nice to see you. Welcome in. So those are usually the opportunities. And that's why they also target kids when they have those diseases. So there's huge opportunities, huge opportunities for when they're small. Isn't that what they do for leukemia? Kill off all the cells to do stem cells, and they give you a new birthday? What? No, that's not true. What? Hi, Rosie. How's it going? You can have 4 vaccines. Let's go, Max. Let's go. All right. Oh my gosh, guys. This number's getting so big. Are you guys ready? 3, 2, 1. Yes. Max. Let's go. Subscribers. You guys have some new stuff that you can spam our vaccine parties. When I'm all lit up. When I'm all lit up. You can do, yes. Look at those Mavas. The patriotic Mava. patriotic duty of taking care of one another, building up public health. Love to see it. Love to see it. All right, guys. All good. All right. Boom. Back to the Future 2. Making America actually healthy. I know. That's a good. Make America actually healthy again. Imagine that. I've never heard of MCTD. I have no idea what that is. Open bar party when you go to 200. Dr. G is picking up the tab. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. No, that's not true. No, we don't let researchers do whatever they want to the children. That's not true. Yeah, there's lots of the insane amount of paperwork and trials and due diligence that need to be happening, like in order for that to take place. So we definitely don't just let people work on humans, for sure. Not even close to being true. Dr. Rowe, what's up? How's it going? No, I don't know what these words are. I don't know what you're talking about. MCTD and porphyria. I don't know. Porphyria is a group of genetic metabolic disorders where a defect in the heme synthesis pathway leads to the buildup or porphyrin precursors, causing symptoms that can affect the skin or nervous system. Symptoms can include extreme sun sensitivity. There's also MCTD. Mixed connective tissue disease is a rare autoimmune disorder that combines features of other connective tissue diseases and systems. It's an autoimmune disease mistakenly attacks its own healthy tissues. It features a mix of symptoms of other things like lupus, scleroderma, muscle inflammation. Yeah, I don't know. Cool. All right, cool. Yeah, I don't work with humans, so I don't know. Hi, Dr. Rowe. How are you? Good. Welcome in, guys. Yeah, maladaptive. It's insane, dude. Even to work with mice is like it's insanely hard and difficult. It's insanely hard to work with mice. And then it's even harder to work with anything else. Okay. No, that's great. Hi, Night Flyer. Welcome in. How's it going? All right, guys. All right, so I was thinking about all right. Mava, look at that, Mava. What do you guys think? I was thinking about putting white underneath the lettering. ChatGPT wouldn't listen to me. I was like trying to get it, and it kept not giving me the stupid thing. All right. Yo, thank you for the fan. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, Night Flyer. Let's do another one. All right. All right. So here we go. Ultra processed foods. Are ultra processed foods really so unhealthy? What the science says. Oh, this came out 9 days ago. We already covered this actually. Yeah, it's ultra processed foods versus minimally processed foods. We already did it. Okay. Yeah, we already did it. Let's see. What's another thing? Oh man. Ooh, scientists take on Trump. Here we go. Scientists take on Trump. These researchers are fighting back. When U.S. President Donald Trump administration started slashing science funding in January, Nicole Mathis wasn't especially worried about her research being affected. She studied fundamental biology of Alzheimer's disease, which didn't strike her as a probable target. Yeah. Yikes. Yikes. The change in leadership came at a pivotal time for Mathis. She was finishing her postdoctoral studies at the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque and seeking a highly competitive grant at the U.S. National Institute of Health. The grant aims to increase diversity in life sciences, and Mathis was ineligible as a woman from a family with low income. The funding, she hoped, would launch her into the independent role as a professor. The trouble started in February. First, this funding opportunity to which she had applied disappeared. Then, a staff member at the NIH informed her that her proposal had been pulled from consideration. I've never cried more as a scientist than the last 6 months. To hear the NIH staff member say, "I'm so sorry, but your application has been moved to what essentially the trash makes it seem everything that I'm doing be worthless," she said. She became ensnared in Trump's war on anything with a connection to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Mathis had been joined by thousands of other scientists who had been forced to halt their work as the administration continues to purge funding for science that doesn't align with its ideological roadmap. This includes research on climate change, COVID-19, RNA vaccines, the spread of misinformation, and the health of women and people from the sexual and gender minorities. But Mathis and other scientists are fighting back against the administration. Some, like her, are suing to reinstate the grants, and some are collecting information about the budgetary carnage to keep a record of the administration's actions to help in lawsuits. Others are trying to spread the word about the damage that is being done. That's us. Either publicly, hey, that's me, or secretly, often risking their own careers in the process. Nature talked to several people who are leading the fight to reinstate funding, retain knowledge, and protect institutions such as the NIH and NSF. That's us. Two of the largest sources of public funding for basic science in the world. We will have nothing left at the NIH if people don't start speaking out about this, says one staff member of the agency who asked not to be named because they were not authorized to speak to the media. That is a good point. Oh, I'm sorry, Ducre. Is there anything I've been doing? Okay. Mathis dreamt big as an undergraduate. She wanted to develop a vaccine against Alzheimer's disease. Although it seemed far-fetched at the time, a decade later, she and her colleagues developed a candidate with promising results in mice and non-human primates. It can clear protein tangles, which was known to be linked to the disease, from the brain, and it seems to improve cognitive function to the animals. Watching her grandmother slowly succumb to the illness years ago was a big motivator for her research. I haven't been able to move away from it, knowing that there could be some modifiable risk factors that we're not studying, she said. And after her funding was put on pause, she sprang into action and joined the local chapter of Stand Up for Science, a nonprofit organization that aims to combat the Trump administration's policy and funding changes to the scientific enterprise. With this group, she led a middle school science outreach program for girls, wrote an opinion piece in her local newspaper, and led a protest. In March, Mathis heard word about brewing about a lawsuit. She thought she had little to lose. My career is already ruined, so I might as well do something about it, she said. She reached out to the attorneys to explain her situation and joined when they filed suit in early April. The case captured a widespread attention in June when Judge William Young at the U.S. District Court for the District of Massachusetts in Boston ordered that hundreds of terminated research projects at the NIH be reinstated. He called the explanations that led to their cancellations, quote, bereft of reasoning virtually in their entirety, end quote. And he exonerated the Trump administration for what he saw was a clear discrimination against racial, sexual, gender minorities. A spokesperson at the NIH parent agency, the U.S. Department of Health, HHS, said at the time that the agency, quote, stands by its decision to end funding for research and prioritize ideological agendas over scientific rigor and meaningful outcomes for the American people, end quote. So they're just saying that no, these grants are not legit. Oh my gosh. In late August, the U.S. Supreme Court put a key part of Young's ruling on hold, allowing the administration to cancel up to $2 billion in funding that had been on the chopping block. This case will continue along with several other cases by states, associations, and individual scientists. In June, Nell Green Nyland, a specialist in water law and policy at the University of California, Berkeley, filed a class action lawsuit along with several other UC colleagues, alleging that the Trump administration was improperly cut research projects worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The fact that scientists, not school administrators, are leading the push is meaningful, Green Nyland said. Quote, it means it feels really important for us that there's something that we could do as researchers to fight back and make a difference for ourselves, end quote. Government scientists have been involved in the legal battles too behind the scenes. They've been exercising their whistleblower rights by telling congressional officials, attorneys, and reporters what is happening inside federal agencies, such as violations of long-standing policies and procedures that were put in place to maintain scientific integrity. Such concerns led one NIH program official who requested anonymity to take action. They call the precise day the NIH began to terminate the grants, February 28th. That was a crystallizing moment, they said. We took an oath to the Constitution to protect from enemies, foreign or domestic, so I had to get in touch with those who had the power to stop some of this. Data draggers. Some people are just taking data and saving it. That's good. They're trying to save data from Doge and all those cuts. That's good, guys. That's good. Gotta do something. Gotta do something. Yeah, Robin, exactly. Basically any research is considered DEI now. So nothing is safe. There are all different types of research is now quote unquote DEI. It's anything that they deem to have any type of way of being connected. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Night Flyer. They have done so much damage to maladaptive, it's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, maladaptive. Yeah, everyone's trying to make sure that, because their stuff just gets deleted. I don't think that's like, we had a really big problem with that, Mr. Unemployed. I don't think that was a problem. I mean, the H-1B programs and stuff were fine. There was a lot of there was, if anything, there was actually more impetus for universities to bring immigrants in, and because they pay international student rates, which are higher than in-state tuition rates. So there was a problem that the University of California was taking in too many foreign, if anything. Yeah, Ghostbusters, it's Trump's vision. You don't test or gather data, something that's not happening. Yeah. Hey, how does the vaccine counter in the back work? So every time someone gets vaccinated in the community or their family, we add this. So we've gotten 131 vaccinations, 131 shots in arms, any type of vaccine for any family member, and we count it. And then we have a party every single time. How long do you think it'll take to repair what's destroyed? Could be 5 years. It could be 30 years. It really matters how bad it happens and how long. It's hard to tell right now. It's very hard to know. Yeah, exactly. Madison's experiencing a big drop in international students. Yeah, because people don't want to come here that feel like they're going to be pushed out. Okay, yeah, Unemployed. Just have that energy for all the different school shootings, and then we're fine. But that's the problem, man. Is that Republicans have no impetus to care until it hits one of their own, and that's what the frustration is. That's the problem, man. Yeah, exactly, Dean. Other countries will get farther ahead of us. They're not going to stop the mRNA vaccine technology and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, are you really saying that the Republicans and Trump is defending the Constitution right now? I don't. I don't. All right. No, not their own Bill of Rights, just the Bill of Rights, bro. Just the Constitution, the regular Constitution, the regular old Constitution that already existed. It's all good. All right. Well, let's think about. All right, I'm thinking about what to do. Thinking about watching the Heller oral arguments, because I think it's an interesting case that talks about gun violence. It's directly related to the gun control laws that we have right now. and because it limits the ability for those states to employ gun control measures. Okay. 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 So it's going to be a multi-night thing. It's 2 hours long.
Now, Supreme Court argument.
Okay. So here we go. So basically, a good way to study the Supreme Court is oyez. Oyez. It's like from what they say at the start of the Supreme Court. Oyez, oyez. OYEZ. And then you just put in like what it is. Heller 2008. And oyez tells you what the facts of the case are. The show notes, September 2 and 12. All right. Facts of the case. So the facts of the case are basically how what is actually what we're talking about. Okay. So facts of the case. Oh, what's this?
Oh yay, oh yay, oh yay.
May 17th, 1954.
Wow, this is cool.
Lawyers, reporters, and spectators have gathered at the...
Wow, this is Brown versus Board of Education. Experience history like never before, reimagined with AI-generated voices. Dive into the heart of the courtroom. Oh, that's really cool. We'll have to do this. Brown is Brown versus Board of Education. That's really cool. We'll have to do that again in another. That's really cool. All right, so here we go. Facts of the case. Provisions of the District of Columbia's code made it illegal to carry an unregistered firearm and prohibited the registration of handguns, though the chief of police could issue one-year licenses for handguns. So basically, you couldn't register a firearm in the District of Columbia and prohibited the registration of handguns. So they made handguns illegal. The code also contained provisions that required owners of lawfully registered firearms to keep them unloaded and disassembled or bound by a trigger lock or other similar devices, unless the firearms were located in a place of business or being used for legal recreational activities. So they had to be unloaded, disassembled, or bound. Okay. And then Dick Anthony Heller was a DC special police officer who was authorized to carry a handgun while on duty. He applied for a 1-year license for a handgun he wished to keep at his home, but his application was denied. What was his use? Why was he selected for that? Heller sued the District of Columbia. He sought an injunction against the enforcement of the relevant parts of the code and argued that they violated his Second Amendment right to keep a functional firearm in his home without a license. The district court dismissed the complaint. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia reversed and held that the Second Amendment protects the right to keep firearms in the home for that purpose of self-defense, and the District of Columbia's requirement that the firearm kept in the home be non-functional violated that right. So the question, do the provisions of the District of Columbia's code that restrict the licensing of handguns and require licensed firearms kept in the home be kept for non-functional? Do the provisions of the District of Columbia code that restrict the licensing of handguns and require licensed firearms kept in the home to be kept non-functional violate the Second Amendment. So, yeah. The conclusion is that the ban on the registering of handguns and the requirement to keep guns in the home disassembled or non-functional with a trigger lock mechanism violate the Second Amendment. Justice Antonin Scalia delivered the opinion for the 5-4 majority. The court held that the first clause of the Second Amendment that refers to a militia is a prefatory clause that does not limit the operative clause of the amendment. Additionally, the term militia should not be confined to those serving in the military because at the time the term referred to all able-bodied men who were capable of being called to such service. To read the amendment as limiting the right to bear arms only in those in the governed military force would be to create exactly the type of state-sponsored force against which the amendment was meant to protect people. To read the amendment as limiting the right to bear arms only to those in the governed military would be to create exactly the type of state-sponsored force. Oh, so they're saying that if you limited guns to only those that were in the military, then that would be the governed military force, the federal government that it's talking about. Oh, that's an interesting argument. Because it's like but it would, okay, interesting. Because the text of the amendment should be read in the manner that gives greatest effect to plain meaning it would have had at that time it was written, the operative clause should be read to, quote, guarantee an individual's right to possess and carry weapons in case of confrontation. Yeah, this is weird. They actually use even English common law in order to it's a very weird thing. They go back to the 1500s in order to do this. It's very weird. This reading is also in line with legal writing at the time and subsequent scholarship. Therefore, banning handguns, an entire class of arms that is commonly used to protect purposes, and the prohibiting firearms from being kept functional in the home, the area traditionally in need of protection, this violates the Second Amendment. In his dissent, John Paul Stevens wrote, the Second Amendment does not create an unlimited right to possess firearms for self-defense purposes. I mean, tons of states had banned guns for different reasons at this point. I mean, it's crazy to think that it didn't. Instead, the most natural reading of the amendment is that it protects the right to bear arms for certain military purposes, but does not curtail the legislative's powers to regulate non-military use and ownership of the weapons. I mean, that is what the entire history of the Second Amendment was up until this case. Justice Stevens argued that the amendment states its purpose specifically in relation to state militias and does not address the right to use firearms in self-defense, which is particularly striking in light of similar state provisions from the same time that do so. Justice Stevens also notes that, quote, the people, end quote, does not enlarge the protected group beyond the context of service in a state-regulated militia. This reading is in line with the legal writings of the time that contextualize the amendment in relation to state militias and post-enactment legislative theory. Justices joined the dissent. Justice Breyer also wrote a separate dissent in which he argued that the Second Amendment protects militia-related, not self-defense-related interests. Yeah, that's what I would think too. And it does not provide absolute protection from the government intervention in these interests. Historical evidence for the time of ratification indicates that the colonial laws regulated the storage and use of firearms in the home. And Justice Breyer argued that the court should adopt an interest balancing test to determine when the government interests were sufficiently weighty to justify the proposed legislation. In this case, because the interest balancing turns on the state of analysis of the legislature, not the court, it is best positioned to make the court should defer to the legislation. Yeah, because you give the ability through federalism, you give the legislation of the states the ability to have that ability to regulate. Like basically the non-militia firearms there would be up to the states. And that's what they did. That's what they did for the longest time. Okay. Dude, I think it's late. I don't know if I have the wherewithal, the intellectual merit. Maybe we can do it starting tomorrow. This is cool. This is the Board of Education thing. Go. Play. What? What's that? What's going on? All right. Well, this is so cool.
May 17th, 1954. Lawyers, reporters, and spectators have gathered at the U.S. Supreme Court for something unusual. The marshal calls the room to order.
All persons having business before the Honorable, the Supreme Court of the United States are admonished to draw near and give their attention.
Attention isn't in short supply. The new Chief Justice, Earl Warren, is preparing to read a momentous opinion, one that will cause a legal and cultural earthquake across the country.
These cases come to us from the states of Kansas, South Carolina, Virginia, and Delaware.
In fact, there are 4 cases rolled into one. Together, they pose one fundamental question. Does the Constitution allow states to segregate public schools? The opinion is known by the first case before the court, Brown versus the Board of Education of Topeka, Kansas, or Brown versus Board. Warren spends a few minutes explaining the aftermath of a Supreme Court case from 1896, Plessy versus Ferguson. It established the doctrine of so-called separate but equal segregation. But at this point, it's still unclear which way the justices have decided. Then, Warren gets to the part that changed history.
We come then to the question presented. Does segregation of children in public schools solely on the basis of race, even though the physical facilities and other tangible factors may be equal, deprive the children of the minority group of equal educational opportunities? We believe that it does.
Wow. That's cool. Well, this is really cool. It's like a 5-minute little thing. They go through all the thing. Wow, that is really nice. I wonder if they have other ones on this. Huh, that is really cool. I love it. Okay, you segregate on the. I mean, I guess we do. I mean, we do based off of. I'm in San Diego. We do allow kids that aren't vaccinated not to be allowed in schools. I mean, we do that. I mean, there are countries that don't do that segregate, that don't do any, right? That allow kids that are unvaccinated to join. They just have a fine. There's lots of them. Yeah. Oh, this is from Oyes. Oyes.org. It's like, I mean, it's a really good website to look up Supreme Court oral arguments, and it also is the one that is really good for just finding out the facts of the case and stuff really easily. digestible manner. I know. I don't think I hate the vaccine exceptions. It's ridiculous. Ever since they started allowing personal and religious exemptions, everyone has them now. Everyone suddenly has personal exemptions, and it's insane. Yeah, exactly. I don't think that they should be allowed that at all. I don't think they should be allowed. I'm sorry. Yeah, I agree. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to do this real quick. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for the last subscriber, Missa. I appreciate you. Subscribing is the #1 way that you can impact and support the channel. Thank you so much. Thank you to the top gifters, Sins and Ducray and Jen and Leopardus and Ghostbusters, DN, Helen, Addie. Thank you to the likers. Thank you for 100 or 3,000 likes. DN. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Cindy Rose and Helen and Jen and Nightflyer, Ducray, Lefty Left, and Cherry. Thank you guys so much. Also, guys, the link tree has the super chats, but then also the Discord. So we can you can join there, and yeah, that's where all the primary sources are, the links. Also, in my my link tree is a link to my YouTube. So the YouTube has all the best conversations and an archive of all my past lives. So if you want to check those out, you can. Also, my link tree has all the publications that I've done without paywall. So if you're interested, you can do that. All right, guys. Well, we went 5.5 hours yesterday. So I think I'm just going to take a early night tonight, get some sleep. That'd be really nice. And I got to get up early. We got a baseball game in the morning too. So I would appreciate an early night. That'd be amazing. So Annie Freckle, hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I know, guys, we've been I think we're at a month straight. I have not missed a single night. No, my friend, my kiddo's T-ball. Yeah, we have 4 kiddos. I know, Ghostbusters. I don't know what's going on. Nobody's really requested up, and it's fine. It's all good. Hey, Skog. Hey, nice to see you. I went 5.5 hours last night, Skog, so we're just gonna call an early night. And the requests have been low anyway, so I don't want to push it, which is all good. So just gonna call it and get some extra sleep. I think it's gonna be night. It's gonna be nice. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you so much. Oh yeah, of course, man. Yeah, Nightflyer. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. I love these. That was my goal when I started streaming every night. I kind of wanted to do these 2-hour ones anyway. It's been 2.5 hours, so it's actually just in line exactly what I want to do. So I can do every night as long as around 2 hours. So this would be great to start doing it. Oh, thank you, Dan. Thank you, man. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. That's it. We did it. We had a plan and we did it. We enacted it, and I love it. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. See you tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow.